Welcome to RANsquawk's EU morning briefing for Thursday, 27th of August 2009. Just going through 9:30 now in London, so a quick check round the markets and the recap of overnight news. Firstly, starting off in Asia, noting some commentary out of Asahi, the Japanese daily newspaper, which said that China's sovereign wealth fund will increase new overseas investment this year by around 10 times from the previous year on signs that the global economy has bottomed out. The China Investment Corporation also said it was examining making new investment in Japanese companies and property on prospects of recovery in the country's economy. Nevertheless, though, it didn't stop the Nikkei average, which did close the session down some 1.7%. Bit of profit taking after hitting those highs that were seen yesterday. That was multi-month highs. The Shanghai Composite also finishing down near 1%. Elsewhere on the global front, noting the front page of this morning's FT says that the head of Britain's city watchdog supports the idea of a new global taxes on financial institutions, warning that a swollen financial sector paying excessive salaries has grown too big for society. Again, FSA chief there backing city curbs with global tax then, according to the FT. In the US news, worth noting, Fed's Lockhart says it's too early to contemplate raising Fed interest rate target. Lockhart said does not rule out MBS or raising MBS purchases, but is not leaning in that direction at the moment, and the issues will be discussed in the coming FOMC meetings. Elsewhere from Europe, ECB's Draghi says the economic crisis is gradually retreating, with the Telegraph also noting comments made by the German finance minister yesterday. Telegraph running the headline, Germans say to lend directly as second credit crunch looms. Germany could directly intervene in the credit insurance and lending markets as soon as September, according to the paper, to head off a looming credit crunch, as it fears the economic recovery may soon falter as banks refuse to roll over loans. Elsewhere in the UK markets, in terms of data, we have seen the nationwide house price numbers for August surprising, coming a little bit stronger than expected. On the month, actually increased 1.6% against the expected 0.5%, and on the year, minus 2.7% decline. Analysts were anticipating a drop of near 4%. Nationwide saying that UK house prices rising at their fastest pace in more than 2.5 years in August as low interest rates spurred demand and a lack of property for sale underpinned values. On the flip side, though, the Telegraph does say that there's more pain in store for Britain's beleaguered manufacturing sector this year, with 2,460 companies expected to fail this year, despite signs that economic outlook is improving. That was according to a report by BDO's Stoy Hayward and the Centre for Economics and Business Research in the UK. Taking a look in terms of equity news, even in spite of Asian equities finishing a little lower, we did open lower in Europe, but we are trading marginally higher at the moment across the FTSE CAC and DAX. On an individual basis, Credit Agricole is a real outperformer today. They're up over 5% after they posted positive Q2 profits, beating street estimates. Accor as well are up around 10% after they said it may study creating two separate companies or splitting themselves into two separate companies. Taking a look then in terms of the calendar for what's coming today, much of the main focus is going to be on the US GDP. We'll see the second version of that in the prelim for the second quarter. Analysts expecting the annualised number to be at minus 1.5% against previous minus 1%. And then other than that, we'll look out for an update in terms of initial jobless and continuing claims. That'll be due at 1:30 and at 7:30 in Chicago. And then the main event after that will be the 7-note auction. $28 billion worth from the US, usual time 6 o'clock London, 12 in Chicago. That of course coming on the coattails of fairly decent or successful auctions we've seen in the 2- and 5-year auctions already from the US this week.